Our submarine project, your first cinema project since you have returned. So we're gonna take it slow and easy. We're gonna keep it nice and whimsical. We're gonna go for a cute little mini sub and an underwater environment. Later this year, we have some duplicate projects. I probably will do like sort of a sci-fi, like sort of city, like planetary environment. And we will do a dinosaur or basically quadruped creature. You can do a dragon, whatever you want. We'll do a anthropomorphic figure, which is like a human alien being, troll, elf character with arms and legs. That's what anthropomorphic means, like a man walking around. And a couple other things. So we're going to start with this one, and we're going to try to keep it simple, not get too carried away. We're not going to make like schools of fish and all this other stuff because that would take too long. So we just would basically want to copy, like you see here, a nice little, these are just like little test versions of other projects, but a nice kind of underwater sort of look, which is achieved through lights and fog. And then the ripples on the surface is using another water effect. The bubbles coming out of the propeller are a particle effect, which we have up here under simulate particles. So basically these are how they make like Tinkerbell sparkles and all those kind of like twinkle effects and fire and lava lamps and bubbles and all kinds of stuff. Anything like kind of sci-fi looking is done with the particles effect, and we'll kind of like learn the basics of that. All right, so first thing we got to do though is build a nice little mini sub. We're not going for like vicious, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Nautilus, or I don't know, that old sci-fi show that had like our vicious, like military subs or whatever. We're just doing like a little kind of whimsical, cartoony mini sub with some portholes and an engine and propeller, just to kind of break back into Cinema 4D and kind of get used to things, okay? So to get started, you're going to go to a new file, and to start your sub, I'll kind of break it down into different things, but we're going to start with a capsule shape and from your primitives, and down here in your coordinates palette, you would flip it onto its side, and we'll work with this as the sub body. Okay. So I stretched it out, sort of a pill shape, and what we want to do is kind of like modify it. So we're going to use some of these deformers, if you remember those. They do mostly what they say. We're going to use a taper deformer, and it kind of deforms in the direction where you have this little dot-like thing on the green axes. So you can like scale it in or flare it out. That's basically what a taper does. So we want it to go the same direction as the sub. Right now it's going up and down, so we're going to flip that onto its side 90 degrees as well. And we only want to like do a portion of the sub on the front, and then the back will be slightly different. So remember, the deformer goes into the shape. And you can put multiple deformers in a shape. You don't have to just use one. But with this taper inside the capsule, remember, you can pull it out. So to put it into the capsule as a child parent object, remember that. If you forgot, you click on it, you hold down, and then you touch the word, and it gives you that little like arrow pointing at that box, like kind of pointing down, like you're going inside. So that kind of is an indicator that it's putting it in, and then it will indent. So now it should work when we go to this little dot right there, and we can kind of taper the front of it to look more sub-ish. Okay, and you can, you can make it, if you wanted to make it more, like some subs have like the military ones have kind of a shape like that. You wouldn't do that. That's kind of looking like a beak, so you want to do something like that. And then we can do another deformer this way, or we can convert this and then do another deformer. And so it's up to you. You can do multiple deformers all on top of each other, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you have to take the whole thing and select it. Remember, it turns gold when you select it, and you're going to go over to mesh conversion, and you do the current state to object thing, and then now that's a shape by itself. Okay, so I could delete the original one over here, and now that's converted into a polygon shape. Remember, there's two types of shapes, polygons and primitives, and polygons always have this icon of the triangle with the little 4 dots. And a polygon shape is more advanced, you could do more stuff to it. A primitive will have an icon of whatever it is, so that could be anything. But polygons will always have this blue triangle, so that's how you tell the difference. I'm not going to do that though. I'm just going to kind of take my taper here, and we'll go to a bulge. And remember, it bulges in the direction of the green arrow. And we kind of want usually you want this blue box, that's where it's going to deform. And you have attributes over here and options where you can do it limited within the box, unlimited. You can play with the strength, the curvature, but you also have these 3 boxes here. And whenever you see 3 boxes for like giving things like measurements or settings, it basically is X, Y, Z, the 3 directions of 3D. Which, if you look down here, you have X is red, Y is green, Z is blue, and you have that axes on the submarine right now, which indicate like a left or right, forwards, backwards, or up and down. And it doesn't matter which one is going in which direction, because you can kind of modify them all. But right now, I want to make this longer, and which direction. I want it to, because right now it doesn't really fit around the whole sub. Lengthwise, and that's the y-axis. So X, so you had to figure it out over here because they don't label it. X, it's always alphabetical. Y, Z. So the middle one, if I wanted it to be a little bit longer, I could enter in a new number and just hit enter on the keyboard, and now it stretches around it. Or if I wanted it to be like really skinny, so I'm altering the Y. Okay. X, Y, Z. Anyways, I want it to be maybe like 350, kind of fit around it a little bit better. And actually, let's make it a little bit more. And then we'll put that into the capsule, and then we'll grab it and we'll bulge it. And so now it's kind of looking more sub-like, like a bullet or missile or whatever. So that'll do, and then I can kind of like move it around and sort of modify. I want to get it a little flat on the surface for my little conning tower. It is a little stunted right now, but deformers kind of nudge it towards what you want. It usually doesn't get it perfect, and you kind of have to like apply and kind of do multiple deformers to sort of like slowly work it towards what you want when you're using deformers. So like the technique that I'm using right now by applying multiple deformers. Alright, so I can kind of bulge it out however I see fit. And I think at this point I'm good with like how this is working. But I could move my taper around and make it more pointy. I can move the bulge deformer around. And I kind of want to have like an engine in the back there, so it's not all like the same length, because right now it's kind of looking like a taco shell or something. So I'm going to move it forward so that I have like this nub in the back, which I can like attach stuff to, and I have this forward part. Okay, so you see how I grab the axes. When you move stuff, remember you move it by the arrow of the axes. If you screw up your position, you can go down here to position and like zero everything out, and then hit apply, and that'll put it back. So anyhow, I moved it forward by the red axis to give me that little nub in the back, and then I took the taper and I kind of moved it around that way. Now, sometimes the order that of the deformers, like that they go in as children, will affect it differently. So, like you can move the order around. You can see it kind of altered it a little bit when I put the taper on top of the bulge, and the bulge you can like look at the front of the sub. See how it kind of altered it a little bit. That kind of stuff will happen depending on the order that it goes into the shape that you're deforming as children. Anyways, I'm done with it. So I want to convert this now, like I was saying. I don't want to put any more deformers in it. So I don't want to keep it this way because these are primitives. They all have an icon of whatever they are. They don't have that little blue triangle that I pointed out earlier, and that means they're primitive shapes. That means they're limited. We're going to do some polygon work on our sub after we've deformed it. So we want to convert this primitive capsule taper bulge, because also the computer has to like calculate this every time you move it. So if you were to animate that, it's kind of going to be bulky and slower. So we're going to convert this to streamline things. So to convert stuff, you go to mesh in the menu bar. If you don't see mesh, then go over to sorry, I went to the wrong thing. Layout over here where it says startup, and you just put it on standard. And sometimes you won't have all the same options in the menu bar that you see here with me. So you have to kind of do that. Anyways, we're going to go over to mesh conversion, current state to object. This converts everything into a single shape. That is a polygon, that is a primitive. You do not need both, so you can delete the original one and you're left with that. Okay? And then we'll do one more step on this, and then tomorrow we'll continue with that. I could have given this more parts. So you can see, like, I'm going to delete the one that I just did. You see how it kind of like looks a little geometric? Like it's kind of like, you can see like flat planes. It's not like smooth. It's still kind of primitive. You can see these under gouge shading and line under display. So this is a review under display right here. If it's normal in gouge shading, I like to work with gouge shading and lines, which is the second choice, and that lets you see all the kind of polygons and segments and stuff. So you can see mine's kind of low res, very low res. So while it's still a primitive, I can go down here and go to my segments, and so I can go to like the height segments and say like maybe, I don't know, 24, and that adds more to it, and improve my resolution and my smoothness. Maybe I'll go up as high as 32, okay, and then maybe I'll enter in like 16 for the MPs. You don't want to get crazy with this because then that causes problems if you try to do polygon work and you have too many small polygons like this. It becomes way difficult to use. So when you're doing what's called block modeling, you have to find a middle ground of like where like it's going to look nice, but where you're not adding too many things to it. And if you recall when we did, if I did the dyno with you, we had to keep it very low resolution in order to like do our block modeling. And those of you that had problems with it, and some of you had like mangled it, and some of you did amazing. Probably like some of you had a problem because you had too many polygons in it. If you're working with too high a resolution, that means like too many polygons, too high of a resolution, then it just becomes difficult to do stuff. So while you're doing basic block modeling, you sometimes need to keep it like very low res. But you can alter, before it turns into a polygon object, you can alter how many polygons it's going to have by playing with the segments. And all the primitive shapes have them. So like a sphere has segments, a cube, even though it's very low res, has segments. It has one on each of its 6 sides. So I can alter that if I wanted to like do a different type of modeling. So if I wanted to pull out detail on the top and keep the sides simple or something, you can customize that segment stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna delete those. So I went back, and before I convert this, you want to do that because once you convert it, you go make edit current state to object. That's it. you can't go back. I was only able to go back because I had only done one step, and I hit undo. So you remember you have all the undo arrow up here, or edit undo. So I went back and undid what I did. So now I can delete the original, so we no longer need the original. That's the one that I added the more segments to. And so now as a polygon object, it has a higher resolution. All right, and then so the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out the conning tower of our little sub and maybe stretch it out. It's a little stunted. So up here, I've been on the moving tool. We're gonna go over to the scale tool, and you can just click on the axes and stretch it out a little bit. And now we have a better looking sub. I could even, scale it up on the top and like alter it, to fit my needs. Okay, we're going to add all kinds of stuff to it, so you don't have to pull it all out of one shape. So we'll put our engine back here with the propeller. We'll just kind of put it on top of that nub, and we don't have to worry about it. But the conning tower, we're going to go to our live selection tool. This is the live selection tool, and we're going to go over here to the side, the polygons tool, and that lets us grab these polygons. Remember, they turn gold. If you hold down your shift key, you can roll over or click on multiple polygons. If you hold down the command key, you can subtract them. Remember that? All right. So when we don't exactly have like a symmetry thing here like we do with ZBrush when we model, so you kind of have to look at it, and like I can see this line down here, that's the middle. So I have to decide like where my conning tower is going to be, and I'm going to hold down my shift key and select the polygons that I want to make up my conning tower. That's where the periscope will be, and maybe it's too far back or whatever. But you need to like kind of, so I'm going to hold down my command key and subtract a few polygons. You need to make sure that it's balanced. So you don't want to accidentally, there's nothing like building a really good one and then realizing later that you're all catawampus, that's a real word, and you're like off to the side, unbalanced in the forest there. So we're going to go ahead and make sure I'm kind of just counting rows of polygons. So I found the center, and then I'm kind of counting rows of polygons. I don't want it too skinny or too thick. And then we're gonna extrude that. So under Mesh, you have Create Tools, we have Extrude. In the new version of Cinema, they've moved all this crap around. I don't know if I'm gonna move over to the new version of Cinema yet. We're still using the old one because I like it better, and so do a lot of other people. But when you extrude by a polygon. You do not extrude by the axes. So you don't just grab the axes and start yanking it around. This is incorrect. This is wrong. Look at these triangle polygons that form. So sometimes you do want to do this, but not in this case. When you want to extrude and create new geometry, because that's not creating new geometry, it's stretching out the geometry. When you want to create new geometry, you want to go to Create Tools, Extrude. And you click on a polygon. I usually click on one far away from the axis so I don't accidentally do that. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and you can see now it's nice and crispy, and it's creating new geometry. And this is where you want to kind of drag it out as far as you need, but if you for some reason didn't drag it out far enough on your first extrude, then you could stretch it out. Now when you do this, because it was on a curve, the curvature will match it, so it starts looking kind of like a guppy fin or something weird. So this looks dorky. I need you to use discernment and not be a lazy kitten, and kind of decide, does that look right? And we know that it doesn't. So what can I do? Well, you can go to the scaling tool, and we can see, I can flare it out more, which I don't want to do, but I can squish it. All right, and then we can look at it this way, and I can squish it. And then I can squish it down so it's a little flatter. And then you can take the whole thing with your moving tool up here and push it back and create like a nice little conning tower that we can put a porthole on, or a hatch, or a periscope, or all kinds of stuff. So this is a basic, whimsical, cute, kind of cartoony mini sub that we're going for, nothing vicious. If you wanted to, put a decal on it or something. You can find a texture on the internet. And we'll kind of work with that a little. Maybe like some people wanted to put like teeth or something like those planes from World War II that have the like the shark teeth on them. I don't even remember what that plane was called, but I can do it like this. Okay. Now, while I'm still on the polygons tool, you can see I have polygons selected. I could go to select and say deselect all, and it will deselect all my polygons so I don't end up screwing it up. And I can kind of like look at this, and I decided that the whole thing is too skitty. So I'm gonna go back to my, when I want to start moving it around or modeling it again by scaling it or pushing it around, and I'm done with my polygon work over here, then I would just go up here to the modeling tool right there. It says model, and go to my scaling tool, and I can kind of stretch it out a little bit to get it to be a little fatter. So there is a good beginning for submarine. We will save this as let's see, your name, and we'll call it sub step 1, and I'm gonna put it in my submarine folder. You would put it in your student work folder, which you have already made, hopefully. There it is, submarine. And I think I need a new folder in there. We'll call it sub 2020, wrong year, oops, 24. And so I have changed the name, I'm telling it where to go, and I hit save. All right, and thus ends first stage of submarine building. I thought I had all these subs recorded, but I didn't record these. I think the last time I gave this sub project was in 2023. So no one got this sub project last year. It was I did different stuff. And you guys, when you were just young kittens in 10th grade, I experimented on and mutated you into superior cats by giving you advanced projects. So I'm kind of giving you some of my other projects and recycling and rotating them over to you guys. So we're gonna do like as far like the planetary, like a sci-fi planetary city. So we're gonna build like a little, kind of like the Boston album cover, and then we'll like this project kind of like terraform. Like you'll have to use your imagination. You'll have to have your terraforming machines, and then you'll have like a little shuttle, and it'll come down and fly through the terrain of your landscape and stuff like that. So we're gonna do like an alien world animation, not exactly space, and then we'll do, like I said, an elf character and a dino character, and we'll see, you know, the motion graphics stuff, and we'll see what else we have time for this year. Okay, your job is to produce a body of work. Remember, you need at least 5 projects, 4 to 5 that are cats, and for your portfolio, and the rest can be yours. So you need about 10 in total. So like around half have to be from like the actual classroom work that you've done. All right, and group projects are also acceptable, and we may do that, and I may alter my mind and change it to a different idea and do a bigger group project, but right now we'll kind of stick with the plan for your portfolios to have 10 good pieces, okay? Anyhow, I'll see you in class.